Hey everyone, it's Trevor Barroero, Black Swamp artist and principal percussionist of the Tucson Symphony Orchestra. In today's video, we're going to walk through the fundamentals of orchestral tambourine playing using Black Swamp's Overture TDOV tambourine. This video is geared towards band directors and developing percussionists who want a clear, reliable approach to tambourine that works in real ensemble situations. The Overture series is Black Swamp's line of entry-level instruments designed by concert percussionists with a sound specifically intended for band and orchestral performance. So even though this tambourine is accessible for students, it's absolutely capable of producing a rich professional sound. We'll cover how to hold the instrument, basic strokes, different roll types, short exercises, and then we'll look at some famous excerpts from the orchestral repertoire. This particular model of tambourine is the TDOV. It's a 10-inch maple shell with a Remo Renaissance head and a double row of hammered brass jingles. The lighter ply shell design makes it easier for students to hold and learn essential techniques, but it's still sturdy enough to stand up to regular rehearsals and performances. First, let's talk about what's actually making sound. The tambourine really has three sound sources: the head, the shell, and the jingles. Our goal with every stroke is to get all three of those components to vibrate simultaneously. That's what creates a full, rich tambourine sound instead of something that sounds muddled, unclear, or late. It's important to remember that the tambourine is a two-handed instrument. Even though only one hand is striking, both hands are constantly involved in the sound and control, so we always need to stay aware of what both hands are doing at any given time. I like to hold the tambourine with my non-dominant hand, my left hand, at about a 45-degree angle in front of my body. If the tambourine is held too horizontally or flat, the jingles are fighting against gravity. They respond late, and conductors will often say, "Tambourine, you're behind." And sometimes that's not actually about timing or anticipating the beat. It literally is just about the angle at which you're holding the tambourine. And remember, as percussionists, we're in the back of the ensemble, so we're already having to anticipate slightly because of the speed of sound. We don't want the instrument itself creating even more delay. If the tambourine is held too vertically, the jingles are suspended with no resistance, and you'll lose all articulation, and it will sound muddy and unclear. So let me demonstrate. Here it is too horizontal where it's going to sound late. And here it is too vertical where it's going to sound unclear or muddy. And here's that perfect 45-degree angle. Now let's try a little relaxation exercise. The holding hand should be as relaxed as possible, zero tension. A great way to feel this is to let the tambourine hang loosely at your side. Let it dangle, shake it a little bit, and feel how relaxed the hand is. You should barely be holding onto the shell of the tambourine. Then bring it up slowly into playing position without adding any extra squeeze in that non-dominant hand. If you feel tension creeping in, drop the hand back down, reset, and bring it back up again. The relaxed grip is what allows the instrument to resonate. I also avoid pressing the thumb too firmly into the head. That can actually change the pitch of the head and choke the sound. Now, playing position. Unless there's a very specific reason in the music, I try to keep the tambourine directly in front of my body. Same playing zone for everything, including shake rolls. Lifting the tambourine way up over your head for rolls not only makes timing more difficult, but it can also change the perceived pitch and balance of the tambourine in your ensemble. It's good to practice striking and shaking the instrument in the exact same position. This is much better than the alternative of lifting it way outside of the playing position. Don't do that. For general loud playing, I use what I call the shadow puppet mouth. So I bring my thumb underneath my middle and ring fingers and I brace them to create a firm striking surface. For me, the middle and ring fingers tend to hit most consistently on the drum head, but that can vary a bit from player to player depending on your hand size. The important thing to remember is that the fingers are braced and everything moves together. We want to strike the head straight on, perpendicular to the surface. We don't just want to slap it with the fingertips. Now, for beating area, I like to play slightly off-center for the most general strokes. That gives you a good balance between the head, shells, and jingles speaking at the same time. Now, for softer dynamics, beating area changes. I move out to the rim of the instrument, and I always make sure that I'm directly above a set of jingles. You can line that up visually by finding the nail head that's holding the jingles into place. You can play with a single finger or 2 fingers, still braced by the thumb though. For a little extra articulation, you can brace the instrument on your leg, or rest the heel of your hand lightly on the head to dry out the sound. For fast, quiet rhythms, you can brace the tambourine on the kneecap and play with 1 or 2 hands. Or you can tuck it gently under your stomach and play with both hands. The kneecap option is the driest, while the stomach option provides a slightly warmer and more resonant tone. For extremely loud accents in our music, it's okay to use the fist, or even the full palm, to get a big pop, especially at the end of a piece. I would suggest saving those techniques though for a specific special moment and don't overdo it. For loud, fast rhythms where it's too fast to just use your hand, a very common approach is to use knee-fist technique. One surface is your knee and the other one is your hand, either in your normal position or as a fist. And even though we call it knee fist, you don't actually have to use your fist. I actually prefer to use my regular hand shape instead, and either way is fine as long as those 2 sounds between the knee and the hand match. You can play knee fist technique with the tambourine upside down, where the head hits the kneecap for a more punchy sound, or right side up, where the shell hits the edge of the kneecap for something a little lighter and more natural. Now, when you're doing this, I definitely don't recommend balancing on one leg. Instead, I prop my foot up on something like the bottom of a snare drum stand, but you can prop it up on a chair if that's more comfortable too. Now, a good rule of thumb when doing knee fist technique is to have the first and third 16th notes of a grouping be played with the hand, and have the second and fourth 16th notes be played by the knee. So what I mean by that, if you have a 1E and 2E and rhythm, you're going to do hand, knee, hand, hand, knee, hand. If you have 1E and the 1 and the and are played with the hand, the E's and the uhs are played with the knee. Now let's talk about rolls. So one of my teachers and mentors, Tim Adams, liked to equate tambourine rolls to snare drum rolls, and I think it works great. So we have 3 types of rolls. We have a multi-bounce roll, we have a single stroke roll, and we have a triple bounce roll. The multi-bounce roll is great for soft, sustained sounds with very little articulation, just a beautiful shimmer. It's more of an effect, but it works nicely in delicate textures. So hold the tambourine vertically and move your entire arm side to side with small motions like this. The single stroke shake roll is extremely articulate, and it works best in very loud passages where the entire ensemble is blasting. You'll hear more of the rhythmic shake of the roll, but it's the loudest option out there, and when the whole ensemble is playing fortissimo, it works super well. But my go-to for probably 90% of my tambourine rolls is the triple bounce shake. The jingles move in kind of an S-like or snake-like pattern in their slots, and you get the perfect blend of articulate front to the sound with a colorful sustained shimmer in the back. To train the jingles to move in this way, you'll want to start by creating 3 notes with each rotation of the forearm. Then slowly begin to build the speed until it sounds like a sustain like this. It's actually easier than it looks. You're basically just overextending the rotation of the forearm to get that flop from the hand. Unlike a snare drum triple bounce roll, however, it's important to note that the jingles are not actually shaking 3 times per rotation. The triple bounce motion is simply an exercise for training the forearm to create this unique roll. No matter which roll type you choose, it's always important to remember to start and stop the roll with a clear attack. Except when you're starting at a very soft dynamic. Now, for very soft rolls, especially shorter ones embedded in a rhythmic phrase, finger rolls are your best friend. And a little beeswax on the head goes a long way to add some friction and make this much easier to achieve. Now you can apply this beeswax starting closest to your body and then moving around in a semicircle around the instrument. There's no real wrong way to do this, but I always suggest starting with a little bit, test it, and then you can always add more. If you've added too much beeswax, it's really easy to just rub it right off. You can also go through and add little speed bumps with your thumb right along the path of that beeswax so that your finger will bounce more easily across the head. I usually use my middle finger or ring finger, but any finger or even the thumb can work. Just remember to brace the finger with your thumb for extra control. Now this will definitely take some practice, but just experiment with the angle and pressure until you can replicate a smooth, even finger roll every single time. Then you can start to vary the density, pressing a little more firmly for a tighter sound and pressing looser for a lighter, more open sound. You can release your finger rolls in a variety of ways. For loud rolls, I like to release with the heel of the hand or the knee. For soft rolls, I like to release with my index finger or the other hand. All right, now let's put some of these ideas into practice with a couple of simple exercises. First, let's try playing a simple 4-measure rhythmic pattern, playing it once loud and once soft. Great. Now let's bump up the tempo and use knee fist technique for the loud playing. Once upside down and once right side up. And then softly, once tucked under the stomach and once resting on the kneecap. Next, let's start with a simple single stroke roll at a slow tempo. And now, just a little bit faster. Now let's try an exercise where we play 1 measure of a multi-bounce roll, 1 measure of a triple bounce shake, and then 1 measure of a single stroke shake, and then repeat. Now let's try applying all of these concepts to a couple of famous orchestral excerpts from Bizet's Carmen. We'll start with the iconic tambourine part from the first suite. We want to start with a full, powerful sound and then diminuendo into a distant, yet still clear and articulate sound. We can start near the center and then move our way out to the rim, similar to snare drum, to achieve the dynamic change. We can also gradually introduce muffling with the left hand's fingers to dry up the sound as we get softer and softer, ending on the leg to brace the instrument and make it even more articulate in the soft playing. Now let's take a look at Danse Bohème from Carmen's second suite. This one can be played in a variety of different ways, but for this run through, I'll place the tambourine on my kneecap to focus attention on the sound of the jingles, and I'll use my left hand to play the articulated notes to make sure they don't get lost in the texture. The beeswax we added to the instrument earlier will really pay off. And there you have it. That's a quick overview of orchestral tambourine playing using the Overture TDOV tambourine by Black Swamp Percussion. Let's remember the big ideas. Number one, it is a two-handed instrument. Number 2, that 45-degree angle and that relaxed grip really do matter. And number 3, having a few reliable techniques for different sounding rolls and a wide variety of tempos and dynamics for our rhythmic playing will go a long way in any band or orchestra. Now, I hope this helps you feel a little more confident next time that big tambourine part comes up in a rehearsal or concert. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to check out the other videos in the Overture series for woodblocks, castanets, triangles, and more. Thanks so much.